Did you know the LA Kings have their own culinary partner? It's Superfood, celebrating 10 years and over 1 million meals served. Since 2020, the Kings have trusted Superfood to fuel their players. Now through Simply Lunch, you can bring that same performance-driven food to your office. Because when people eat better, they work better. Visit mysuperfood.com. That's mysuperfd.com. Or call 213-973-6145. Qualified companies can enjoy a free lunch for up to 10 managers.
You're listening to All the Kings Men, the official podcast of the LA Kings. Now, here's your host, Jesse Cohen.
All right, it's Monday morning. That means it's time to crown a King of the Week. Joining me this week, the Bannermen, Vardy. How are you doing today, Vardy?
Excellent.
And
How are
Caro,
you?
thank you. I've been better. How are you doing, Caro? Caro also.
I'm not excellent. I'm not good.
Oh, I was saying it ironically, but okay.
Yeah, well, I
Deeply-
was generally speaking, when people ask me how I'm doing, I don't take into account how the team is doing because that would, I'm
That's smart.
Trying to be like a positive guy.
I was just thinking about the team before the show, so I am not well. I'm in a bad place, which might make for a good entertainment. So
I went to a friend's 50th birthday party today, and it was in Long Beach, and it was the part of my life that is the tattooed artistic musician non-sports enjoying part of my life. And so there were a bunch of people who were asking me about the Kings, and I wasn't entirely sure what to say. So listen, apologies in advance. We always have to do this when it's a tough week. I would have loved to have you guys on when they were 3-0, but that just the hockey gods were not so kind. So this is a tough week, and I apologize in advance. We're just going to launch straight into it. So Vardy, we're going to start with you. Your honorable mention this week.
Okay, we're recapping 3 games, correct?
Correct,
I just want to be absolutely clear on this. Okay, my honorable mention is Yoel Armia, who had 2 goals in the game against Utah, including one that had a delightful pass from Kevin Fiala, who I strongly considered putting in here.
I'm sure you did.
Because if nothing else, I think one of us having Fiala on there at all points in time is a brilliant thing anytime we're on the show with you.
Oh, boy. All right.
But 2 goals in that game. I believe he had an assist as well. But more importantly, I was looking at his game log. He is just firing shots, man. For a team that is like struggling to actually get shots, he had 9 shots on goal in the last 3 games, including 4 in Utah, 4 against Seattle, and sadly only 1 against Calgary. But shots were extremely rare for the Kings in the Calgary game, unfortunately. So that is my pick. Yoel Ice Cold Armia.
All right, and Car, I appreciate calling him Yoel.
I'm trying.
Your honorable mention.
Before I give my actual honorable mention, I want to shout out Alex Turcotte for winning 59% of his faceoffs this week.
Mm-hmm.
Second only to Kopitar, who had a monstrous 63%. I do not want to tell you what the other centers had because it's going to upset me. Kevin Fiala is my honorable mention. And look, I don't care. I love Kevin Fiala, as you know, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm always looking for him anyway, but if nothing else, like, he wasn't boring this week, all right? And right now, that's probably good enough for me. He had 2 assists against Utah, the wonderful pass Vardy mentioned to Yoel Armia on that breakaway. Pretty nice dish to Kempe too. That pass to Armia, man, I was almost going to say it's a near impossible play, but it's definitely an improbable play when you look at the replay. And I know, Jesse, you pulled up the NHL Edge, the graphic, outstanding. One of the reasons I love that thing.
Yeah.
And ironically, it started with him being defensively responsible because he was covering the front of the net where no one was for some reason, recognizing that. He also scored what maybe could have been or should have been the game winner against Seattle. And it was a power play goal. And it's the only power play goal the Kings scored this week. And that's probably the last time I felt anything positive about the LA Kings.
Well,
He also had 9 shots on
Don't
goal
worry,
this
we'll
week,
get
by
there.
the way.
We're doing the good stuff right now. That pass, and it's funny. I don't always look at the Edge replay. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to the NHL website, any game, you can pull down a replay of the goal expressed through dots. I don't know how else to say it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't worry about it. And watching the replay of that goal, even on the replay with the lines, the I don't know how they do it, the telestrator lines showing the distance of the pass and the track of the puck and all of that. Somehow I still missed that the pass split the defense in the neutral zone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it required, but I caught it on looking at the edge dot replay. And I just thought, wow, it really was an impressive pass. It really was a really nice pass. Now,
Can,
I
can,
still,
can I say one more thing before you
sure,
about Fiala? I know he turned the puck over to Calgary. Everyone's yelling at me. I'm just gonna let me just talk about that real quick before I
sure.
pass it along. Um, Everyone on the power play has been brutal, as we know. So
Mm,
if the deal breaker for me was a bad play on the power play, Jesse might not have had a king of the week all season. So you know what? That's my line of thinking. Go ahead,
fair
Jesse.
enough.
Take it away.
I am going with Alex Turcotte.
Good.
Um, Mainly because of his success in the faceoff dot. And also, if you had to point to a player, I was talking to somebody and they asked me how many guys on the roster have exceeded expectations, how many guys have met expectations, how many guys have failed to live up to expectations. At this point in the season, there are not a lot of guys on the exceed expectations side of the ledger. Armia's one. Perry certainly started out hot, but I don't think he's had a goal in a month. So I think it's fair to say that he might have cooled off to meets expectations. Turcotte is in meets to exceeds expectations, right? He's not given a ton of ice time. He's not asked to do a lot, but when he is asked to do anything, he does it, and he does it well. He was asked to fill in for Phil Deneau, and I thought he did a perfectly reasonable job in a game that, I mean, that Calgary game was tough.
Mm.
Um, and I don't think it had anything to do with him. And to your point, in the faceoff dot, a successful week out of him, and he's been winning faceoffs all year long. So for me, the honorable mention is Alex Turcotte. And we can
Nice.
get into the nitty gritty of the Calgary game and the power play a little bit later. But Vardy, we're circling back around to you. Your runner up then this week.
My runner up is Darcy Kemper. And
Okay.
I feel like at any point in time during this year, you should, not could, should have Darcy Kemper as one of the 3 stars at any given week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, another solid 2 outings. Anton Forsberg, also due credit to him, at a great outing in the Seattle game. I believe he was the goalie. Um, but Kemper allowing 2 goals or less, saving 90+% of the shots, especially the one in Calgary. Like he was quite frankly the only reason they were anywhere within striking distance of winning that game. They were being outshot at 1.3 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately they caught up in the third. And Dustin Wolf had some good saves in that game as well. But yeah, Darcy Kemper has single-handedly earned this team. I can't even tell you how many points I think they've earned simply because Darcy Kemper has played as well as he did last year for them.
Yeah, I agree. Caro, your runner up.
My runner-up is Adrian Kempe.
Okay.
What do you want me to say? He shot 25% this week. He had 2 goals, 2 assists. He can't be happy about this season in general. And God bless him for signing that contract despite all of it. Well, he has his days where it looks like he's not Adrian Kempe, but fortunately for the Kings, he's been Adrian Kempe more times than not this season, and I thought he had a pretty good week.
Yeah, Adrian Kempe, 2 goals, 2 assists, one a first assist, 8 shots on goal, which was second on the team behind Yoel Armia, 25% shooting percentage, 1.87 independent and expected goals per and over that 3-game stretch, second on the team behind Yoel Armia. Yeah, I mean, Adrian Kempe starting to look a little bit more like Adrian Kempe. And somebody pointed out to me during the Calgary game, it was a Calgary that he scored in, yeah, that he is back
Yes.
to the sort of stone-faced assassin post-goal celebration. So hopefully that's a
Right.
sign of more things to
Yeah.
come.
It was nice seeing him rip that one-timer from the circle. It it made me reminisce of power plays past, where that's where he would
Yeah.
actually be, and was quite effective from there.
Yeah. I mean, they are going to need him to be the best version of himself for the remaining 50 games, whatever it is at this point.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for the next 8 years, which would also
Well,
probably
sure.
be
But
accurate.
listen, I'm not, but let's talk about putting the cart before the horse. I'm
Right.
focused on the remainder of this season. We can worry about next year and
I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time
yeah.
doing that right
Well,
now. But sure.
my pick for runner-up is Anton Forsberg.
Okay.
And he only played one game, and it was a game that they lost in overtime. Even as I was apologizing for the week, I realized they're 1-0-2. Like they didn't lose in
Right.
regulation, which is infuriating somehow.
Right.
Um, but Anton Forsberg played one game, and it was a game that I felt was played way more poorly than the rhetoric around it seemed
Agreed.
to suggest. My assumption after the Seattle game was that Jim Hiller would put it in the same category as the first Chicago game, the 2-1 loss.
Mhm.
He didn't. And that caught me by surprise because I thought the Kings did not look particularly good in the Seattle game. And that was a game that they really only got a point out of because of Anton Forsberg. He allowed the goal late. I don't put that on him. He got the penalty called against him, which everybody I've talked to, and I want to stress, everybody that I have talked to, you can read between the lines on that if you'd like, didn't understand why that was a penalty.
Yeah.
And I'll just say it one more time. Everybody that I have spoken
Yes.
to
Yes.
agrees that that should not have been a penalty and that there's little to be done about it. Nonetheless, I thought Anton Forsberg put in a great performance in a tough spot, and so he's my runner-up.
Yeah, he didn't get help at all. That I mean, all
No.
three goals were power play goals against him. You
Hmm.
know, one of which I believe that was the one where Byfield broke his stick and decided that he was going to like skate back out of the zone and get the stick instead of trying to stay. And the second they did that, McCann was like wide open at the time. It was just, you know, your
Yep.
goalie can only do so much if you're allowing three power play goals, and I don't blame him for any of those, quite frankly.
No, and
And
they
really,
listen, they got a point.
I was
I
gonna say
know, I
he's
know.
been good since I want to say the Ottawa game where he got
Ottawa
that
game. Yep.
shutout. He's been really good since then. Like
Other
that Pittsburgh
than
game where he kind of stunk it up.
I was going to say,
Like
other than the
that's been
Pittsburgh game,
yeah.
has he had a terrible game? Like, I don't think he has. I think he's been pretty decent
Yeah.
and sometimes excellent. Vardy, then your king of the week.
My king of the week was actually Adrian Kempe, for a
Okay.
lot of the reasons that Gato already discussed. A plus player basically for all of December. He's been +2 so far, but this week in particular, 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, +2, shooting quite a bit, as you mentioned. In a year where we really haven't had a lot of consistency, and he himself still has ebbs and flows, on the whole, he has been the Kings' most consistent forward, I would say. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have him here, and I hope for his sake that the rest of the team kind of finds that same consistency to kind of turn this into something during his tenure on this team, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't say it any better than that. Caro, your king of the week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My my king of the week is Darcy Kemper. And if for nothing else, he's the king of the week because he hasn't flipped over every table in the locker room at least 5 times this season.
That we know of.
That we know of. He's only played twice this week, but he's the most consistent player this team has. He's been all season, and he's one of the best three goaltenders in the world that were born in Canada. He's been a rock. He deserves better. And you know what, Jesse, going back to what you mentioned, I think Darcy Kemper's exceeded expectations for me because at times we all thought, how can he duplicate that season?
Yep.
And we expected a step back, but he's been the same guy. So hats off to him. He's the king of the week for me.
He's my pick for king of the week as well. And, listen, he bounces back after that loss to Chicago. He gets the shutout. And then that Calgary game, I mean, that Calgary game might have been worse than the Chicago game.
I think you're right.
Like that was I probably won't get over that Calgary game for a while. And
It's a hard one, man.
they got a point out of it because of Darcy Kemper. Now, a lot of it is because Calgary shot themselves directly in the foot. I said to somebody it should have been 6-1, and they laughed at me and said it should have been 8-1. And you get no argument out of me. I would say about half of the chances that didn't turn into goals for Calgary were because Calgary just couldn't pull a trigger and finish a play, and the other half was Darcy Kemper making incredible saves. So in a week where he only played 2 games, the Kings got 3 points out of possible 4 with him in net. He didn't have to do a ton of work in that first Chicago game, but he did against Calgary. And what was the final shots on goal? 38-17 or something goofy
21
like
or
that.
30.
something.
They had 38 for sure. Calgary had 38.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
38 to
mean,
21.
so he 100% stole a point from them, and I didn't think the players or the coaches were nearly as complimentary of him as like. There's not much more you can say other than he stole us a point, which they said, but I don't know. Invent a new invent a new way of saying that because that should have been a demoralizing, humiliating loss on home ice.
Or show him that he doesn't have to keep stealing points
Well,
from you.
sure, yes,
I
well,
mean,
yes,
that would
or
be
you
a
could just
better
play
thing
better,
to,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
like maybe give him a margin of error greater than 1 goal every damn night. Like maybe
yeah.
that's a good way of saying thank you. Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, so that's that. Adrian Kempe is a good pick, but it turns out Darcy Kemper is actually the king of the week. So congratulations, Darcy Kemper, this week's king of the week. All right, so Darcy Kemper's the king of the week. I'm not entirely sure how to tackle this next conversation, but I feel like it needs to be had. Something's wrong.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. And when I say I don't know what it is, I genuinely don't know what it is. There are plenty of times where I have theories or I have seen things or heard things and I don't feel comfortable sharing them. I genuinely don't have a specific theory. I have random, thoughts that I haven't collected into like a working theory about what's going on. But Caro, something's wrong. And regardless of the overall play, the power play has ceased to be amusing to me on any level.
I think part of the frustration for me is that I, like you, can't pinpoint what is wrong, or
Mm-hmm.
for a harsher word, how deep the rot goes with the team at the moment. It's difficult, and we're getting frustrated and just kind of banging our hands on the table and saying do something, but we can't tell you
Right.
what that is. That is definitely part of my frustration. The power play, I don't even know what to say. This has to be the worst Kings power play of my
So
lifetime.
I looked it up because I'm a sicko. Net power play percentage has been tracked since 1977, 1978, that season. Since the 1977, 1978 season, which is 48 seasons ago, the Kings' net power play percentage is 12th worst all time.
For the Kings or for
No,
NHL history?
no,
Good Lord.
not for the Kings exclusively. In NHL history, going back 48 years, it is 12th worst. Now, the only solace I take from that is that the 2000-2001 Buffalo Sabres had a worse net power play percentage in the regular season. And they, as if I remember correctly, wound up in the Stanley Cup final that year. Maybe it was the year before. Maybe I have
No,
it wrong.
99.
99.
Okay. Well, then you know what? Then no solace taken.
Even that goes out the
Nope.
window.
Then it's just terrible. But like I said, it has now reached the stage where I don't find it funny. I will make jokes about it because I can't help it. But like, it's not cute. It's not funny. It's not amusing. It's not. I read Helene Elliott's article about, calling on Ken Holland to make a move. And I actually got mad because she described it as offensive and power play woes. And I said, it's not woes. That's
Yeah,
not
right. It's
like,
not struggle.
yeah, there's
Like,
nothing
Yeah.
normal about this. There's nothing like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just not working. They should do something. No, it is a disaster. It
Yep.
is hurting the team, right? Calgary was not a good team, right? And in the morning skate, I asked Jim Hiller, does it make them dangerous that they're at the bottom of this pack of teams that are all clustered up together? And he said, well, they've been playing really well lately, so they're more dangerous because of how well they've been playing of late, not necessarily because of their place in the standings. They were not a good team. That was not a well played game. And for them to be as aggressive as they were on the penalty kill, and not only that, score a
Yeah.
short-handed goal. Something's wrong, and the power play. And I do not like using language like this. I've said it time and time and time again. It cannot be allowed to continue like this.
I mean,
It
how can
cannot.
anyone disagree with anything you just said? It is apparently we just found out that it is historically bad. It's not just bad,
Right.
it is legendarily bad, if that's a word. And again, the issue is I was about to pretend like I know what the issue is, but they just don't look confident. And when they're not confident on the power play, it leaks into every other part of their game.
Yeah.
The power play is when forwards play with the puck a little bit more. They get their confidence, they make plays, it loosens them up for 5-on-5 play. It is impacting every facet of their game right now. And it is so difficult to watch. That we the jokes when the Kings power play was bad, oh, decline the power play. And we would all have a laugh. Decline the power play, dude. Like it was possible.
At morning skate, the morning of the Calgary game, we were standing around Jim Hiller getting his thoughts, and somebody said out loud, I don't think it's true that Calgary's the most penalized team in the league. Maybe they're the most penalized this month or something. But I mean, they're near the top of the league in most penalized. But the subject came up. The Calgary takes a lot of penalties. And totally sincerely, not ironically, not jokingly, in the back of my head, I went, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Like I was like, "Oh, that's a bad thing. To play
Right.
a team who's going to take penalties against you is actually bad because now it's not even that the Kings aren't scoring on the power play, which is something, that is its own issue. But the issue is now teams know that when the Kings have the man advantage, they are actually at a disadvantage. Teams
Right.
are taking momentum away from the Kings when they're on the power play. And to your point, Caro, it does bleed into everything else because as goofy as much as everybody wants to look back in history and make fun of was it Andy Murray or Terry Murray who said our power play is our enforcer? Um, as
I don't
much as
recall which one.
as much as everybody wants to make fun of that statement, if the opposite of that statement is true, then teams don't have to worry about defending you as hard because they can hook you, they can slash you, they can trip you because you are not only not a danger on the power play, you're just as likely to give up chances, if not goals. I mean,
Yep.
it cannot continue like this. It
I had
cannot.
I had a similar thought when Vancouver. This was a couple of weeks ago now. Vancouver at the time had the worst defense in the NHL and the worst penalty kill in the
Mhm.
NHL, and they came into crypto and the Kings beat them 2-1 in overtime or something like that.
Yep.
But I had a similar thing when I saw that they were the worst penalty kill in the NHL. It wasn't oh no, but I was like, if they don't score a power play goal tonight, I might rip my hair out.
Right.
And they were not good, if I remember correctly, at all on the power play that game. So now the worst PKs, the worst defenses are making us nervous, and that's where we're at.
Right. And
Sadly,
if we're nervous, how do you think the players feel? Because
Yeah.
that's definitely a point of emphasis. It's a point of emphasis in the practices. It's a point of emphasis in every pregame meeting. They know that the other team knows that their power play is not good. You're going to see the PKers playing more aggressively against them, especially up at the blue line, because they seemingly keep generating chances for themselves. I mean, that's Blake Coleman's goal was just a simple stick play, but high up at the blue line, and he was gone. He was absolutely gone. The interesting thing is the one power play goal that they got this week was such an atypical power play setup for them. It was a rush play. It was Fiala dropping to
right?
Kempe with
They've
a
done that
stretch
play a
pass,
couple of times, yeah.
but only a handful of times. They've only done it a handful of times, and every single time they've done it, it's either generated a good chance or it's led to a goal. So it's really interesting that they clearly have a different form of entry. They have something in their quiver, some sort of because that's a set play. You have to have practiced that play. And I'm not saying you got to do that every single time you have a power play or try to make that happen, but how is it possible that you have means of entry, have means of generating offense like that are based on misdirection and stretch passes, and yet as soon as we actually get into the zone and establish any kind of normal power play setup, all of that thought of like, hey guys, let's a little misdirection, a little rotation seems to just disappear. It's very, very confusing.
There are no wrong suggestions anymore
Right.
for what to change. Like there just aren't because what is being done is not just not working, it's bad. Um and so try anything. Stop doing the slingshot. right? Go back to two defensemen on the power play. I said unironically to somebody the other night, put Mikey Anderson and Joel Edmondson on the top power play unit.
Right, just to defend.
Yeah, yeah. If for
Yeah.
no other reason than to stop what's happening.
Oh man.
Just stop whatever baseline assumptions you think you have about what is a normal power play in 2025-26 season. Get rid of them because it is not working.
Yeah.
So everybody does the slingshot because the slingshot has a higher percentage of gaining the zone with possession than any other offensive tactic, and every team in every league does it. Although honestly, the Calgary Wranglers, I went and watched the San Diego Gulls versus Calgary Wranglers game a few weeks ago, and I don't think the Wranglers do the slingshot, which was interesting to me. But nonetheless, go back to dump and chase if you have to.
Right.
You know, like I don't care. Go back to caveman, remedial hockey, whatever peewees do when you can't. Like I don't, whatever.
I
Because
mean, it's to me, the issue is even when they get entry, they have no idea what to do. It is just a bunch of guys standing around, not displaying any confidence with the puck to attempt to allow their natural offensive prowess to do anything. It's it's very frustrating. And that's why sometimes you actually see power play 2 look better than power play 1, because power play 2 is a bunch of guys who are just like, "Hey, we'll just try anything," you know?
yeah,
It's very confusing. It's very, very confusing.
It's one thing I've noticed, and it drives me crazy, um, is that they insist on playing at the top more than they insist on just getting it down low and working the puck down low and go low to high. Even they don't. They just play around the perimeter.
Right.
And it seems like you mentioned this, Jess. It seems like these PKs understand that, and they're really pressuring up on those
yeah,
three guys
right.
on top, and that's what's causing all these turnovers. It's Kempe and Fiala, in my opinion, that are playing around with it a little too much. That play where where Fiala turns it over to Coleman, had he just chipped it down low, the Kings had
Right.
two guys down low,
Right.
outnumbering one. But no, we're gonna do the same old, and try to. It just, I don't know how you fix it. I don't know what you
See,
change.
everything.
see to me that, but I have to feel like that for as many times as that play has burned them, there has to be some sort of emphasis coming to them in these practices or the coaching staff that they keep trying it. Because if you go back to last year when Kuzmenko came in and the power play was very, very successful, it was those goal line plays. It was down low, him coming out of the corner and being able to look at those passes either across the goal mouth or up into the slot. And they're not doing any of that. Even when Kuzmenko's in the lineup, it's like that puck just doesn't seem to find its way down there to look for those plays anymore. I can't explain it, but that puck just, whether it's because the PKers keep pushing it to the top like you're talking about, or whether that's something that they keep emphasizing, that they want those initial shots, they want those two guys up top to be the ones that generate the offense on the power play. The puck is just always up there instead of making its way down to try something different.
That's why the 2D solution, quote unquote, isn't crazy, because they're going to at least send it down there,
Right.
and
Right.
have the forwards, work below the dots where you could really pull apart the PK. But this up top stuff, especially with Kempe, who they added a D, but Kempe's still like 70% of the time at the top of the umbrella. I don't get it. Like, put him where he blasts the puck. Put Fiala on the other side, the other flank, where he was doing that downhill play, the pull and drag. How many power play goals did he score like that, Jesse?
From the top of the left faceoff circle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go
Yes,
look at
on
his
his
edge
off
stats.
wing.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Insane,
absolutely.
dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we can't be, we're just citizens watching hockey. Like,
Right.
come on, we
Well,
can't.
so one of my dad's favorite things to say is always, if the fans see it, the coaches see it. And
Right.
what is lost
You would
in that
think.
comment is, implied in that comment is that the coaches being spoken about are the coaches of the Kings team. But what is also true is that the coaches on the other team see it.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the part that is beginning to drive me crazy, is that other teams do pre-scouts. Other teams have coaches. Other teams have scouts. And when you start to see repeated behaviors against your team, right? Like everyone talks about, like, oh, there's a book out on that goalie, right? Whether it was
Right.
Jim Carrey, right, shows up in the league as a rookie in Washington, and I think I can't remember if he won the Vezina or just the
He did.
Calder or whatever it was, but like incredible. And then nobody ever heard from Jim Carrey ever again, right?
Right.
Or who was the Calgary goalie? Not Calgary, Carolina's goalie, that won the cup in
Cam
06.
Ward.
Cam Ward, right? Shows up out of nowhere. Oh my God, Cam Ward. And everybody assumed Cam Ward would have an amazing career. And then nobody ever heard from Cam Ward ever again. There are
Right.
tons of goaltenders who come in the league, catch everybody by surprise, and then the book is out, the scouting report gets around, and once they go through the league a second time, week 5 hole, glove side high, whatever it is, their weaknesses are exposed, and that's the end of it. I'm sorry, but watching a bum Calgary team and Seattle killing penalties against the Kings the exact same way as every other team. And the only nights that the Kings power play is any good is against the team with an absolutely dreadful power play or penalty kill, excuse me. I'm at my wit's end. Like I don't
Yeah.
find it and the overtime thing also. I yelled at Mikey Alexander about it last night because like, and I
Oh,
get
it
it.
drives me crazy. I know what you're about to say.
Just the sort of like, oh, stop me if you've heard this, but the Kings are
Yes.
going to overtime again. It's like there's nothing cute about this.
No,
Right.
because
This
I
is
knew at
not
9 minute
funny.
mark it's
Right.
going to overtime, dude.
Well, I don't know
could
if you saw
tell.
my tweet. I literally wrote it with 10 minutes left in the third period.
I tweeted
put it in
something
my
too. There, like
draft. Yeah.
7 minutes left. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is going to overtime. Like
Yeah.
Right.
it's two teams who defend the game to death. They're
Yeah.
not going to take chances. Like, you know what's going on here.
Right.
And it's a symptom, not a coincidence. It's not quirky.
Correct.
It's not fun. It's not cute. It's not bonus hockey. It's something's wrong. I don't know what it is.
yes.
Something's wrong. You're going to overtime half of the games of your season.
Right. And part of it is honestly like that at some point that becomes their strategy, right? Their strategy becomes, well, let's just, not do anything risky for the last 15 minutes of this game because we're going to get a point no matter what, and then we'll figure it out. Like it's silly. It's absolutely silly. The only time they even try to like do anything in the third anymore is if they're really, really down.
Down
And
three.
the rest, right? If it's tied, they just ride it out. They just lull you to sleep, and then they hope for better luck in the 3-on-3 essentially.
Well, it's not fun. I think I'm going to wrap it up here because otherwise the three of us are just going to start
Yeah, I could do
saying
this for
things
an
that I
hour,
regret.
sadly.
Well,
But,
we got
thank-
3 games coming up against
Yeah.
Dallas, Florida, and who's the third
Tampa.
one? Tampa. So whoever has next week, best of luck to them.
Yeah. Well, it might be you guys again.
Damn
Bannerman, thank you for joining
I
me.
think I'm busy.
You can check out the Bannermen on their podcast, which can be found wherever fine podcasts are curated, or you can find the archive as well as a bunch of other stuff at theroyalf.com. Caro, Vardy, thank you as always for joining me.
Thank you, buddy.
And
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having us,
Kings
man.
fans, thanks for listening to us complain about the power play. Hopefully this is the last time it happens, but we'll see. All right.